Hello. Oh my God, my eyes are getting big. Hello. I should put my glasses on. You're muted.
I was muting to talk to you on the other line.
Oh, so the craziest thing happened. And hello everyone. Oh, I forgot we can actually see. I had an allergic reaction.
Oh no.
Yeah,
To what?
I don't know.
Oh no.
I have no, so like my eyes are like it just increasing, and I was like, I once I get through this, I'll be fine. I can figure out what causing it.
Did you take like a Zyrtec or anything, like or Benadryl?
No, so I don't have any of those because I've never had like those things before. So I'm like,
Allergies?
okay. I'm like, all right, we'll figure this out. Ah,
Oh
I've
no.
never used this aspect of like a webinar format on Zoom before.
Yeah, me neither. Horizon set this all up, and normally I just show up and talk. Wait, who put me in charge of IT? Like,
That's the thing, like
I talk for a living for a reason.
that
I,
is the main thing. I was like, oh, okay. This is what it looks like being here. Oh, we have an attendee.
I was
Oh,
gonna say, I think someone just showed up. So yeah, you can
perfect.
see two now, I think.
Yes. I'm like, this is good. I'm like, this is perfect. Okay. There we are. Ah, okay. I'm excited. I feel like we haven't done this in a while.
It has been a little bit. Yeah, I'm excited. I went on maternity leave, so
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen you since then. It must have been before. Or did we do one after I got back?
No,
No, okay. I'm
no.
like, I've done a few webinars and I did, oh my gosh, I was looking back because I was talking to one of my other partners and
Mhm.
I was like, oh my gosh, I did a webinar like the week I came back from maternity leave. I was like, I don't remember doing that. I think I was still in like total blur.
Oh my, you're like, oh, I'm still on like a little vacay mode, but let's go.
Yeah, I was like, let's do it. Let's jump right in. What can you do, right? You
Oh
gotta
my
keep moving.
gosh, you gotta keep moving. No, yeah, it's been I think I'll say almost been a year since we've done the last one.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
No, no, no.
Uh,
That's pretty good. That's
do
pretty
you
good.
want me to like? So normally, see, the way that we normally do it is we have everyone on here and everyone can chat. So
Yeah.
I don't. Let me see if I can. Oh, there we go. Oh, I think I just add them
Oh,
in every time.
so you have to manually add the participants in?
I guess so. That's I just clicked and then she popped up on the screen.
So listen, we're both figuring this out today.
We
New
sure
format.
are.
It's a new format. We're doing a new time. We usually do it in the evening. Now we are doing this in the middle of the day. So we're trying
Mm.
something new, putting out the information. So we're gonna see how it goes.
Well, it'll be recorded, so you can always you'll share it afterwards and everything. So
There you go,
that'll
which
be
is
good.
now perfect, which is perfect. So it's you want to go ahead and start, Amber? We can start.
Yeah, sure.
Take it away.
So yeah, should I just start with normally I have a presentation. I know you and I just kind of chit chat.
We
So
always just chit chat.
I guess, yeah, just so a little background of myself. I
Hmm.
am from Horizon Trust. We are a passive custodian. What we do here is set up self-directed retirement accounts for individuals to take control of their retirement account and invest in alternative assets.
Hmm.
I typically throw a little disclosure up that says basically that I am not a financial advisor or a CPA. Horizon Trust does not provide any financial or tax guidance. This is purely for education. Um, we are a custodian, so what we do is establish the actual retirement account. So that's our role is to go ahead and establish
Okay.
these plans, and we do all the necessary reporting to the IRS on that aspect. But again, not a financial advisor. So that is where awesome people like Kalisha come in, and she can help you with investments where I cannot.
And I've been working with Amber and the team at Horizon Trust since I got into investing with private investors. I was in 2023.
Yeah.
We started working together. Well, I started working with the company itself, and then down the line, I started partnering more with Amber. But I think one of the thing was when the few times that we've done these webinars, persons found it very valuable because of the questions, and we are able to give clarity on it. So even if you're just watch, you're rewatching it. Some of the information will be repetitive. That is okay, but it's also a good refresher of how
Mhm.
to do things as well. And we're just here to give you guys access to the information that is out there as well. Because I think one of the thing is that I always see people talk about you should invest with your retirement account. Yeah.
Mhm.
And what does
How?
that, how? Like I
Mhm.
think, I guess because my brain is also, I'm very detail oriented. Like I want, give me everything.
Yeah.
So if you just say something without telling me how it's going to it can be done, like I'm gonna be so annoyed. And people always talk about there's millions and trillions of dollars sitting in a retirement account. Yes, but what does that really mean as well? So I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
it's another opportunity for us to have that conversation as well with
Okay.
persons, even if they never thought about investing, but give them the information that they need where they're like, okay, maybe I'll consider this. And if I do consider this, these are the questions I would like to get answered as well. So that's why we're doing this webinar today.
Yeah. No, definitely. And so many people don't, like to your point, don't even know that you can invest in
Mhm.
alternative assets with a retirement account. I'll have these
Yeah.
conversations and they've had an account for, 40 years, never heard of this.
Mhm.
And so it's so great to be able to provide that education and
For
just
people.
really show the other way that you can take control of these retirement
Mhm.
funds. And so, yeah,
Just make it
we can
easier.
jump into it. I know you had a list of questions. You're always so good with that.
No,
Um,
yes, those are good. I have mine open like side by side because I
yeah.
know like I need them as a guide too. But
Mhm.
let's get to the awareness portion of it before we
Yeah.
go deep in the woods.
Yeah.
But the person who like didn't even know that this is possible as well, like if I've had a 401k for years and am I like, are they limited to what they can do with it? What can they do? What can they not do? And I think from there you will kind of transition into the difference between a regular IRA and a self-directed IRA as well too.
Sure. Yeah. So with the 401ks, most importantly, I think the first step to always ask yourself when you're looking into this, am I qualified? And of
Yeah.
course, I'm going to throw my contact information on here. We can always have that conversation. That's part of what I do is help you to identify whether you are qualified or not. For the most part, if you have anything that is not with a current employer, so the only account that's not eligible to transfer or to do what we're going to talk about today is going to be with a current 401k. So you're still employed. And that also could be like 403bs or TSPs, basically any type of retirement plan that you have. If it's still with your current employer, that is not eligible to transfer over and do what we are going to talk about.
Yeah.
Everything else is qualified. So those old 401ks, IRAs, TSPs, 403bs. I've even transferred pensions, annuities. So you can pretty much transfer anything
Yeah.
into our custodialship as long as it's not tied to that current employer. And
Very thorough.
so, yeah, that's kind of one thing to always just think about as far as like qualifications go. And then um, you were saying, yeah, like the different types of accounts. So a lot of
Yeah.
people will ask, what is the difference? Like, what is a self-directed retirement account, I guess? And really, the way that I always explain it is that it's not some new special type of account just because it's called a self-directed IRA.
I
I always explain it to my clients that it's just self-managed. That's all self-directed means is that you are now taking control of those funds and you're directing them to whatever investment. That's where that
Right.
self-directed comes in.
Hmm.
But it just means self-managed. So it's still a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA or a 401k, whatever type of plan that we set up. It's going to be that same rules and regulations for that retirement plan. It's just now that you're going to be able to pick your own investments. And really, what separates us and why people use Horizon Trust is our licensing. And so we're able to hold those alternative investments where, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Vanguard, they cannot hold those asset types. They can
Mhm.
only do, their portfolios. And you can even have a self-directed account. That'll be a
Yeah.
miscommunication. Sometimes people will come and they'll be like, oh, well, I have a self-directed account with Fidelity. I'm like, and you
Mhm.
might, but with that, you can't invest in real estate. You can't buy, precious metals or oil and gas or, raw land, whatever it may be. You can only invest in what portfolio they
For the
have. And so
portfolio.
yeah, that's like the key difference in our custodialship versus
Mhm.
Fidelity. But other than that, really, it's the same principle, right? We're still a custodian. We're fully FDIC insured. We're bank regulated. Your money is just as safe here as it is with Fidelity. The
Yeah.
difference is just what can I invest in? And that's really the key part in using Horizon.
Even with that too, like I think this is some person might think it's a dumb question, but I've been asked this question before and I was like, it is not a dumb question at
Never.
all. Can if I have my 401k, can I roll that into a self-directed IRA account?
Yes, you most
Okay.
certainly can, as long as, again, it's not with that current employer. So as long as, oh, let me see, I think I have to add Mitch in. There we go, Mitch. We're bringing you in here. I'm slowly learning how to navigate
Slowly.
it all. Someone put me in charge of IT today, Mitch. Sorry for the delay.
If it's easier to Amber, you can put me so I can help you while you're talking on it too.
I, I think, I
So
mean, I
that way
think,
it's
I
easier.
think I did, but
Okay. So at least
I think I can make you co-host.
yes. And
There
then you
you
go.
are.
There
Oh,
you are.
that's
Okay,
so much
perfect. So
better.
I can help you. Guys, we're navigating this tech thing today, okay? So we are bear with us. We're trying things new today. But yeah, you can go ahead, Amber.
I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. What were you?
Oh no, you're good. So if I have my current
Yeah.
401k, can I also invest in a transfer it over to a self-directed IRA?
If it's with your current 401k, then no, that would not be eligible to transfer over into an IRA because that 401k is still locked up with that employer. Once you leave that employer, then you can transfer it and it would go into typically the receiving account, because
Yeah.
we always want to go from one qualified plan to another, would
Hmm.
be a traditional IRA here at Horizon. So it'd go into a rollover traditional IRA. So there's no tax implications for doing that transfer, but you
For
do have to
example.
leave that job. The current 401k would not be eligible unless, of course, with everything, there's always like, loopholes in a
Something.
sense.
Mhm.
If you are over 59 and a half, then we can do what they call in-service rollovers. And so then you would be eligible, even if you're still employed, to transfer
Yeah.
those funds. But that's not typical. Typically, we cannot access anything with the current 401k,
Okay.
just old.
Okay. Yeah, that's always a thing too, because I get that question like more than once, and the person was like, this is a stupid question. I was like, no, it's not.
Okay.
Because if you're thinking it, someone else is also thinking it, and might as well you ask the question and get the clarification that you need. And then you can move on to the next thing. And I think that is also very common too, because we do have the question, but we're also so afraid to ask the question because we think that it is too dumb. Now, because we're talking about the topic for today as well. I just realized that we didn't even share this, is that everyone has an opinion about your retirement account, but the question is, do you? So that's the first thing. Secondly, full disclaimer, you guys, we are not here to give you any form of financial advice because Amber and I, we do not want to go to jail. Okay. We're just sharing information with you guys. So take it, go do your own research and reach out to your team of legal professions who in their expertise, your CPA, your accountant, your attorney for confirmation and everything. We're just here to give you guys information, right? Now, Amber, when it comes on to alternative investments, because that is what we're doing here at Legacy Bloom Capital, is that we're offering another form of alternative investment for individuals. What would you say is the main, like the top question someone who has a retirement account would ask when you talk about alternative investments?
They always say, "How do I find these investments?" That's the number one question I get.
Really?
I really do. Honestly, that is such and I'm so grateful for partnerships like ours where, I can say, oh, well, that's, where Cleisha comes in, or,
Yeah.
I do encourage everyone because I can't say, hey, go invest in XYZ. I tell
Mhm.
everyone that I talk to, especially if they, just find me through Google or something, people start researching
Yeah.
this, and I'll get random
Hmm.
calls. And so I always say, check out our webinars. I have guest
Yeah.
speakers that come on that they can talk about the different types of deals that they do and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, but other than that, yeah, I would say questions would be, um, kind of how is this even possible? How can I invest in
Yeah.
something like what Glacia offers with retirement funds like that? That part's always just not something that we're used to. And so
Yeah.
that's where I kind of just explain how these accounts work and how we do a transfer to our custodialship and how our licensing allows us to hold that asset. And so
Mhm.
very similar to how you would invest in a stock in Google, you're now invested in this, syndication deal. Excuse me, syndication deal. And so you're holding this note in your retirement account the same way that you would hold a stock in Google.
Yeah.
And so that usually kind of helps. And it's like, oh, okay. And, keeping in mind any money that's going out is coming back in. There's no
Hmm.
tax penalties for this because you're not taking the money personally. A
Yeah.
lot of people will say, oh, I'm going to take it out of my retirement account, invest in
Or
this.
I'll
And I'm
take the
like,
interest or whatever the return is.
yeah,
Nope, it goes straight back
no,
in.
back in. And at no point, I tell them, at no point are you touching the
Yeah.
money. And that's how we're
Mhm.
doing this within that retirement vehicle is
Yeah.
keeping it, all in the retirement account from our custodialship over to the investment, from the investment back to our custodialship. And so,
And I think the beauty too with our partnership is that with our form of with our strategy, and before I even continue, is what our strategy does is that with Legacy Bloom, we provide short-term loans to real estate developers across the US, and we get our funding from investors. So as Amber mentioned, just as how you would go buy a stock in Google, now you're investing into the company. You're buying like a piece of the shares of our company, and the strategy that we're doing. So whenever we have an individual who they want to invest through a fund, and I would reach out to Amber with that individual. Hey, Amber, we have this person who's interested in investing with our fund. So we kind of make it easier for you to navigate that process. And then Amber will just tell us what are the things that will be required, the paperwork that will be needed, and all that stuff.
mhm.
So you don't have to be figuring out everything on your own. When it's
Yeah,
time for us to pay the interest for it to go back to the account, I am familiar with Horizon Trust process. So it makes it easier because a lot of time the investor doesn't even know what that process looks like. So I'm able to say, hey, usually if we're going to pay you returns, this is what you would do. And then
yeah.
we'll bring Amber back in the loop. And I think for a lot of persons that I've experienced so far, they appreciate that so much because they're like, they have no clue that.
They do. And a lot of people, to your point, I mean, and a lot of custodians don't do that. So a lot
Mhm.
of them, because these are, self-directed, they're
Yeah.
like, you're on your own. Figure it
Hmm.
out.
Yeah.
They don't fill out, how you and I do it. We fill out forms and, we do so much to like
We do a
really,
lot.
especially on the custodian side, fill out these necessary forms for the clients and really just try and make it as easy as possible
Easy.
for them.
Yeah.
You just don't see that in this industry. So I think that's what really separates Horizon, honestly, from
Yeah.
other custodians is just the
Yeah.
level of help that you get, even though these are self-directed. I tell everyone, my job is I'm trying to just make everything as easy as possible. You just find the investment. Tell me what you want to invest in, and then we'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen. So, which even brings to the next question. I think this is where it's going to be perfect for us to talk about is for someone considering like investing in alternative investments with their retirement account. From your perspective, what due diligence would you encourage that persons to do before investing in that account, that company?
Yeah. Due diligence, that's a tough question for me because I typically like don't give guidance on that.
Mhm.
I would
Yeah.
say do that, do your due diligence. What I guess does that exactly mean? I mean, vet out the company. I always encourage people, I'm like, look at their reviews, look at their portfolios, talk with someone, see how many deals that they've done. These
Yeah.
are important things to check out. Um, Not that there's anything wrong, like we all have to get started at some point,
Some point.
but just also be aware if you're like the first person to go in with
Mhm.
this person, you know, and
That
what
is
level
it.
of risk. And I
Yeah.
think we kind of had some notes about level of risk and in
Mhm.
protecting yourself there.
Mhm.
Um, so,
It's going to be
you
there
know,
too.
yeah, you definitely want to. You could even obviously bring attorneys in to look over any paperwork. Any investment that you're doing should have, a breakdown of everything that's going to be involved in that.
Mhm.
What your return rate's going to be. There should be a pretty decent contract there to
Yeah.
protect you. And so, maybe having a second set of eyes that is more familiar with that,
With that
because
structure.
yeah, even on our end, we're not necessarily reviewing again, we're not betting anything out on our end. So it's always the client always wants to make sure that
Right.
someone's reviewing that if they're
Yeah.
not comfortable doing it.
No,
Maybe
I
that's
agree with you too. Like everything, like you just answered all the stuff that I would have said because I would literally say so just the same thing too. Like
yeah.
run your back, like forget about that this is an investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're interested in something and you're gonna put capital in it, whatever it is that you're gonna do, whether you're going into a partnership, you also your due diligence involves who is this person I'm going into business with? What
Yeah.
is their background? Like, ask the tough questions. And I think a lot of times persons are afraid to ask the tough questions or they
Yeah.
think the question is too dumb. But this is the due diligence period is an opportunity for you to ask all those tough questions as well and get clarity so you can be comfortable or have some form of peace of mind that you have all the information that you need to make a decision. Now, will you have all of the information? Maybe not, but at least you have something where you are comfortable making that decision as well. Like that's something that I always recommend too, and just remind persons like I will tell you all the bad news
Mm-hmm.
or the worst
Yeah.
thing that can go wrong. Like anytime you're doing an investment, everything there's a risk to it.
Of
So you
course. Like anything. There's risk in investing even in
exactly,
the stock market, right? Like everyone
exactly.
just lost a ton of money. Like it can happen in a blink of an eye, right? Like did we know that we were going to go into war and all this
Yes.
stuff? Like no one foresaw that, a year ago. Maybe
Yeah.
some people did. I
Yeah.
didn't. I don't know. I live in a bubble. But like
Everything.
we anything you do is a risk, right? You buy a
Yeah.
house, like who knows what the neighborhood's even going to look like in
Mm-hmm.
20 years when you're making that
Yeah.
investment. Anything's a risk. And so,
Yeah.
like you said, just
Just
looking at
knowing.
all the factors.
Yeah. Just acknowledging like what those are and then talk it out. Okay, this is risk A. What things are you putting in place for risk A? Like for us as well, like with our strategy with investing in real estate and providing short-term debt, we're like, there's a 1% chance something is going to go wrong. However, we are familiar with some of the risks. And one of the biggest thing for us is that one is any of the loans that we do, it's not unsecured. Everything is collateral backed, so it's tied to
Which is
an
huge.
asset. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
for us, like
Yeah.
we don't do any form of loans, like a personal loan. Any if we're giving out a loan through Legacy Bloom, is that it has to be an investment used for an investment property and we always put a security or a lien on that asset because that is a way for us to make sure that we get our money back. And another big thing for us is diversification. So again, we are not going to give out all of the capital to one specific borrower or just in
Makes a
one
difference.
market. Like diversifying the market and the borrowers is so crucial because like we see what happened in Florida. Like I'm in Florida, and
Mhm.
with the last two hurricanes, it like over almost 2 years ago, it affected the real estate market a lot. So
Oh
imagine
yeah,
if
sure.
I had a bunch of my loans in Florida, I would have been doomed, you know. But
Right.
diversification is very, very important in this age or day market that we're in. So it's always like if you ask the question, what are the risks? Also ask the follow-up questions. What are the things that you're putting in place to mitigate those risks as well? Because that's
I
crucial.
love that. That's so true. And I tell people the same thing, in a sense. I explain to them because some people really don't know, secured or unsecured. And so I always explain that on my calls, when we start talking about private money lending or deals and things like that, where it's like, okay, an unsecured note is very much like a handshake deal. You're just like, hey, buddy, gonna loan you
Here
some
you
money
go.
and, make sure you pay me back according to this piece of paper.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you could take them to court, whatever. But having that secured note, I think is really great.
Yeah.
It definitely gives that security, right?
That security. Yes, we need that. It's always like, how's my money protected? Like, that's the main thing. Like, if I give you this, how am I sure that you're not going to run off with your money? I had an
Yeah.
investor ask us that recently too. And they're
Yeah.
like, Felicia, like, if I give you my capital in Legacy Bloom, how I know you're all these schemes and fraudulent stuff that are happening, how do I know that you're not going to just give
Okay. Yeah.
like take the money and go live your lifestyle and all that stuff? I was like,
Well,
first
because
of
there's
all,
horror stories. I mean, it happens, and that's the
it
sad thing.
happens.
It's one bad egg ruins it. And it's like not
It
everyone is
makes it
like
worse for
that.
everyone.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to them, I was like, firstly, we are regulated, we are registered. So we are a 506c fund, which means that we can one publicly advertise, we can only take accredited investor, which we'll talk about that too. But one of the things that we mentioned, like someone on our board recommended this was if you ever think that we are doing something fraudulent, like we give you our registration number, like our Form D number, you can go on IRS, not IRS, SEC website, you can put that number in and you can file a report. I
Yeah.
think the team at Legacy Bloom is doing something fraudulent.
To it, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
And it's like you have all right, like that is how important and how transparent we are. Like if we tell you this is what our investment strategy is, which is purchasing short-term debt, we can just go in and start buying hotels and start buying investing in oil and the import and export business, because then we are not being responsible and doing what we say that we're going to do to our investors too. So that is crucial. So get all that information too with the process though, Amber, because the process I think for all of us is like, oh, dread, right? This is like for the person who is they're interested, but because they're overwhelmed with all the mechanics and the process and all that stuff,
Mhm.
like how does the money like move from retirement into like different investment, like on from Horizon side?
Yeah, great question. So, to your point, yes, it can feel really overwhelming because, where do I even start? How do I move
Mm-hmm.
this money from this bank to that bank type of thing? And so you
Yeah.
can't just go withdraw it. You can't show up at Wells Fargo and ask for a withdrawal, right? And so, the way that it works is we do a transfer. And so our team really helps you step by step and walks you through everything. So it's
Yeah.
very hand holding right from the application. So we'll schedule a call with myself. I will go through everything, make sure that you're qualified, answer any questions that you have, and then we'll fill out an application. This is going to gather your personal information so I can get a retirement account established here at Horizon for that individual.
Yeah.
From there, once the account is opened, which typically we open within 1 business day, our next step is you're going to meet with our transfers team. And this is really where the magic happens, right? So they are amazing. I could not do what I do without them. And so they will actually get on the phone with you and your current custodian. A lot of times we can just submit our paperwork. Sometimes custodians require different paperwork. So my team will gather exactly what is needed for where your funds are now, whatever custodian you're with. And then we will get everything filled out. So you're not left again doing anything. We're going to help you. Either we'll fill it out for you or help you fill it out. And then we will initiate the transfer of funds. So that's where we actually submit these forms. We do
Yeah.
all the follow up. So some of these custodians are
And
really
they're
quick.
good with the follow-up. They're so good with the follow-up.
We will call and call and call. So that's why it makes us the fastest in the industry because my team is on it. And so,
Yeah.
we submit these forms and we give them, I want to say 2 days to review and process. And then we're on the phone. Hey, have you reviewed? Have you processed? Or, where are we at with
Yeah.
everything? And so that's really the hard part too. And you'll see some custodians that take over 30 days to get funds. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of that is because it's left to the client to kind of figure it out. And
Out.
so,
Yeah.
they don't know where to submit the forms to or who to follow up with. And so, obviously being in business for over 15 years, we've worked with pretty much every custodian. And so we know typically what they need. And so it just kind of expedites things. So in short, we really help walk through that entire process. Once all the forms are submitted, the funds are typically just wired directly over to Horizon Trust in the name of your retirement plan here. And so the funds hit Horizon, you get notified, hey, your account has been funded, and you now have your lump sum of retirement funds here at your Horizon
Yeah.
account, and your old account is closed. I will say, actually, on a side note, you don't have to do a full transfer. A lot of people will say, "Oh, well, maybe I have $1 million, right? I deal with all different amounts, and so there's no minimum or maximum that you can do this with." Um, but let's say you do have $1 million, and you're really just looking to or less, whatever, and you are just really looking to diversify. You can bring over just a portion. You do not have to go all self-directed or all regular financial advisor. So I have
Yeah.
a lot of clients that do that and say, hey, I just want to invest $100,000 with Glacier. Can I just bring that portion over? Sure,
Mm.
not a problem. We'll get you all set up. We'll bring over that portion of funds, help you get invested. And at any point, you can bring additional funds. There's,
Gotcha.
you're and also not stuck self-directed. Like people like, well, once I go there, am I stuck there forever? No, at any point,
Mm.
you can go
Yeah,
back to the stock market. You're not stuck in, a self-directed vehicle. This is just another way to manage
to
those
do it.
funds. Hmm.
Hmm. See, and even so, with Amber explaining the process to getting it up and running, I think again, this is where I'm going to keep praising how amazing you guys are, because this is where it's so much easier now that you get that part out of the way with setting up the account. When it comes on to investing on our side as well, we walk you through step by step, like the paperwork to fill out. So once you finalize what the account name and everything is with Amber, the easy part for us is like you fill out the form. Like if you're invested in a retirement account, you choose the right form, and that will be included in your subscription document as well.
Yep.
And whatever information that's linked to your account with Horizon Trust, that is what you would put on those form when you're signing those documents. We have that and keep it on our records. And then when it's time for us to pay the distributions or the returns, we have that account on file. We just send it back
Yep.
to Horizon. Or if it's that you're going to reinvest it, you have that option to reinvest it through our investor portal. But if you're like, okay, I want a portion of it to be reinvested, but I want another portion to go back into the account, we have Horizon info, and we just communicate. That's the great thing about it too.
Mhm. That's huge.
We
Yeah.
communicate, like, and again, I know the process, so I know a perfect example. You guys need to fill out a deposit form, and we can fill it out and all that stuff. So we're like, okay, the next step is we got to fill out the deposit form so they know what amount to expect back into your account with them
Yep.
as well. So it makes our partnerships and the process move so smoothly. So it's good when you have two persons or two teams that know exactly what to do. They work with each other, so it makes it easier for you as well.
Really does.
um Even with that too, so like talking about, and this is the part I don't want to talk about myself too, where I'm never good with this. I love asking the questions, and like the question that persons don't want to ask, because I'm also learning. I think I learn every single time. This is also a refresher for me as well. With the thing too of the investment itself, like, and this is like in your opinion as well, Amber, is when what do you think someone would change? And I'll give my 2 cents. What do you think someone would choose to invest in alternative investment and for real, or particularly in real estate, rather than just owning it themselves?
That's a great question. Yeah. So why do it in a retirement account versus your personal name is the
Yeah.
question, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I would say the biggest reason that people do these two things. First reason that people will do these investments in their retirement account is for
Mm-hmm.
tax purposes, right? If
Yeah.
you do this in your personal name, when you're getting this money back or making these investments, there can be capital gains, earned income, things that you have to pay taxes on a personal side. When you do it in the retirement account, of course, this is going to be tax deferred, in some cases, completely tax free. And so that is really the huge benefit when we're getting these in most cases, good chunks of money back. We don't want to be paying taxes on that. So
Yeah.
doing it within the retirement vehicle allows you to avoid those taxes or defer those taxes, depending
Yes.
again on what type of account we set up.
Yeah.
Secondly, not everyone has the capital, right? So this is another source of capital, or maybe they don't want to use personal funds, right? Maybe they don't want to
Mm-hmm.
liquidate $100,000 in personal funds that they have in their checking account when they
Yeah.
can use a retirement account, and it feels. My husband would hate when I say free money. Like it's like free money. That's not free money, babe. That's our retirement. Okay, well, I can't touch it right now, so it feels free. Um, but it's additional funds that you can access,
Mm-hmm.
and it technically it's really affecting you right now in this moment because they are in a retirement account. They're locked up till you're 60 anyways, and
Yeah.
so this is a great way to access that capital, do some different investments. And not affect you on the tax side. So I would say those are the two main reasons why people typically will use these accounts for an investment versus just doing it their name.
Yeah, that would make sense. And the thing too, I think this is where it also goes back. Like if you do decide to invest using a retirement account, you have to figure out that company in terms of what is their strategy, and is this in alignment with what I'm doing? Because also, if you're looking for tax benefits as well, right, depreciation and all that stuff, like that alternative investments may not be able to give you that, right? For
No,
and I
absolutely.
disclose that to persons as well. For us, legacy boom, we're not, our strategy right now is providing debt, right? And of course, what I mean is that when we give out a loan, in return for giving out that loan for a short period of time, they pay us interest. That is just how we make money, clean and simple.
Yeah.
Once we get that interest, we have to pay tax. Our investors pay taxes on it. We don't own an asset at all, right? So if you're looking for tax benefits, like we are not the right fit at the moment, because again, our strategy is just, if you have the capital, which is perfect, you have the capital, you're like, it's just sitting there. I want it to grow. While it's there, just let it grow. Like majority for investors, that's the main point. They're like, I'm not, I'll
I'm
use the
not
term
using
too.
it.
I'm not
Mhm.
using it. So while it's just sitting there, I want it to grow in the meantime, because I can't really take it to go buy a real estate for myself. So I think that is one of the main thing that you need to get clarity on, is that, is this company investment strategy in alignment with mine as well? Which leads me to my next question, is that now, if I have multiple retirement accounts, right? Maybe I have a 401k from like a previous employer, or maybe a Roth IRA or traditional IRA. Can I use multiple accounts to invest in one company?
Yeah, great question. You most certainly can.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times we can consolidate. So a lot of these accounts can be put into one. If you have, let's say you have an old 401k, maybe a 403b, an IRA, and a SEP IRA. All
Mm-hmm.
those accounts are all tax deferred. They can all be put into one traditional IRA here. So a lot of times I have clients like, oh, I got 10 grand here and 20 grand here and 50 grand over here.
Here.
And so we can actually take all that money, put it into
Mm-hmm.
one lump sum here, and now you have that chunk that you can go ahead and invest. So that's one way. The only things that you can't mix, and again, you would still be able to bring them both over, is if you do have tax deferred and tax free money. Those two always have to stay separate, because some of that is tax free, right? We don't want to be mixing our Roth funds with traditional funds.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still take both of those accounts and invest them in the same investment. The difference is that you just have two separate accounts here at Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
So on your subscription agreement, it's going to say, the whole Horizon Trust, Amber Newbig traditional IRA, and Amber Newbig Roth IRA investing in Legacy Bloom. And so you'll just have both portions on there of how you did the investment, but
Investment.
totally allowed. And I see it all the time. So not a problem at all.
Okay, that's good. And I love that you just have to, if you're mixing both accounts, you just have to say which amount is coming from each individual account.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And then make sure the correct amount goes back to that as well.
Yes. Yep, exactly. Making
'Cause
sure
I'm
what
like,
goes out comes back in.
that is very, very, very crucial. Now, if it's that there's a husband and wife, right? I'm going to do two scenarios. So a
Sure.
husband and wife is coming in to Legacy Bloom to invest, but they have two retirement account. And they're coming in as a joint entity together. Can they join both of their retirement account to invest in the fund?
So, yes, they
Okay.
can. The way that that would work with two options, again, they can draft up their paperwork on your end to reflect that they're always retirement accounts are always going to be individual. So I always say that to everyone, they're individual retirement plans.
Yeah.
So you would have husband and wife, they're going to have their individual accounts here. You
Mm-hmm.
can put on their paperwork that each of them are, investing $50,000 for a total of 100,000. That's fine. We can do
Yeah.
it that way. Another option is a lot of my clients will set up what we call checkbook control. And this is where we create an LLC owned by your retirement account, and we can move that money into the LLC and now give it basically a home that all of the funds are in and a bank account that the client is managing. And then that LLC, we'll call it ABC Capital,
Yeah.
directly invests in Legacy Bloom. And then everything just goes back into the LLC. That's the easiest way for husband and wife to combine funds. That LLC is a multi member LLC and it is actually owned by each of their retirement funds. And then the money goes into that LLC. So I have a lot of clients that do that as well, especially, husband and wife, or,
Mm.
married couples. They'll put everything into one LLC. You can also do it with individuals. So it doesn't have to be, husband and wife. You and I could go in on a retirement account together, or I'm sorry,
Ah,
an LLC together
together.
with our individual retirement accounts. The only thing you have to watch out for there, again, you cannot mix funds. So no traditional and Roth. If both individuals have to have the same tax election to go into the same LLC.
Yeah. And here's the thing, guys, like two things actually. The whole checkbook LLC, there are not a lot of company does that. Cause I think I was telling you, Amber, I was at an event and I mentioned that and no one had a clue
What
what
it
I
was.
was talking about with checkbook LLCs. And I was like, yeah, this is how you do it with a retirement account and LLC. And they're like, nah, I've never heard about it. I didn't even know that was possible. I was like, well, I guess Horizon found a creative way how to do things, and there that what makes them different. But also, like, I also did not know that you can combine if they're not like husband and wife. I didn't know that you can
Mhm.
combine both of them with a checkbook
Yeah.
LLC. So that's definitely, see, again, I learned something new.
Yeah, I've had clients, and especially, we can set up minor accounts. So I have a client, and he had 4 kids, and so we
Mhm.
set up a minor account for each kid. And then we did an LLC, and so then they all were in one LLC, and he contributes to all their retirement plans, and then he can get you can only contribute, well, they just raised it, but $7,500 if
Exactly.
you're adding personal funds. And so, but you do 7 grand times 4. Well, now you're working with a good chunk of money in an LLC to actually do some investing. And so
Yeah.
lots of creative strategies that you can really take advantage of. But
Mm-hmm.
that checkbook control is a great way to, yeah, get a
Makes it
lot of money
easier.
into one location. It just cuts down on paperwork. So, even on your end, you don't have to put two different subscription agreements together or anything like that. Everything just comes directly out of that LLC and
Sure.
really simplifies it.
No, and I think that's the thing too. Oh my God, I'm like technical with
I
my
think I
thing
lost
keeps
you.
going off, and I was like, what is happening? And I was like, oh, here I am
There
too.
you are.
And I think too, it's like if you're rewatching this, it's like we're sharing this with you, but you don't need to remember every single thing. But at least now you know the option, so you can be
Sure.
like, I watched this webinar and you said I could do this. This is my situation. You need. I think I tell investors too, like you have a team. Think of us as your team of experts. You share with us what is it that you're looking to do. What do you have, and then we can give or suggestions or the best route to take. And then from there, if you understand, if you're like, okay, we can go this way or that way or yada yada yada. I just said yada yada yada. Too much Seinfeld, Kalisha. I watched too much Seinfeld. But that's those are the thing is too, like I think a lot of times as investors with these accounts, they think that they have to figure everything out on their own. No, like there's like yesterday I asked Amber a question because someone reached out to me about investing in our fund with annuities. And I was like, I don't know. But I know the perfect person. Let me ask her. And I quickly just sent her a text, got the information and I need, and share with the person, and they could make a decision to be like, okay, I can invest, but not with that account. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I think just having access to that information, it is so, so crucial, which leads me like, do you see this is like a partner and a spouse conversation? Because I see this a lot. I see this a whole lot. And whenever you have someone want to invest with their retirement account, right? And they have a spouse or partner, what would you recommend that person to do? Like in terms of like making a decision?
Yeah. Ah, but I mean, obviously talk to your partner, right? If you want to stay married, don't go and just do things.
Yes.
I don't tell my wife about this. I'm like, hey, I'm not here to say anything to anybody. So,
Have a
uh,
conversation.
yeah, no, I mean, obviously these are these, real conversations, right?
Mhm.
This is your retirement account. You want to make sure that everyone's on board. I think, some people could look at it as like a gambling situation, oh, I feel safe with the stock market. We've been with our financial
Yeah.
advisor for 20 years and he's done a good job, da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say to combat that, it's not about gambling. This is just another way of thinking, and it's another type of investing. We're
Yeah.
still, we're still investing. It's not that
Mhm.
we're not taking the money out. There's no penalties or anything like that. I think it's really about just making sure that you understand what you're investing in and that you're comfortable with that investment, because that's really what it comes down
Yeah.
to. Um, and really having the conversation that way, like, hey, let's look at the logistics of this. Here's what we're making now, and if we do this investment, here's what the returns are looking like. No different than what you're looking at with your portfolio. You're saying, hey, I want to do high risk, low risk, whatever it may be. It's no different on this side. It's just
Yeah.
you're investing in a different asset class than you are with a
Mhm.
Fidelity type of account. So it's really a very similar investment what you're doing. I think the question that you have to have with your spouse is really reviewing the contracts on the actual investment side and making sure that you're 100% confident with that,
Comfortable.
because that's the part that you have to really question. Doing it in
Yeah.
your retirement account, that's easy. We're not changing anything here. It's still you're still just doing an investment within the retirement vehicle, and as long as you're okay with what investment you're doing and what those
Yeah.
returns look like, then you're good to go. It should be an
Mhm.
easy conversation.
Good.
um, and you're at no more risk doing it with Horizon. Again, we're just as licensed and regulated as any other custodian. So some people get nervous, like, oh, well, who's Horizon? I don't know them. I know Fidelity, right? That's why I always use Fidelity, because everybody knows who Fidelity
Everybody
is.
Fidelity, yeah.
Um, but it's really, although we are a smaller organization, obviously, than Fidelity, I'm not some, like
Mhm.
a huge company. We're not small either. We're
Yeah.
actually, we are considered a larger custodian for in the self-directed world. And so, it's still a very safe way to do it. It's just, again,
Perfect.
taking control,
Taking
and just understanding the ins and outs of
of it.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I know having the conversation is always tough. And I always encourage, like, a lot of times I'll do more than one call, because I'll have one spouse who's all, they were on the webinar and they're like, yeah, let's do
Yeah.
this. And then we'll schedule a call. And it's like, okay, well, let me talk to my spouse. And I always encourage them, hey, I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy to jump on another phone call and make sure we're all on the same page and
Same
answer
page.
any
Yeah.
questions, because also reiterating information that you heard to then telling your spouse, and then they have
Yeah. That
questions and you
community.
don't know.
Yeah.
So, let's just
Mm-hmm.
all chat together and make sure we're
Yeah.
on the same page, and then it should be an easy decision.
Yeah, no, I agree with you too. Like I highly encourage that as well. Is if someone, we have a conversation with someone and they're already on board, like I always ask, like, is there another decision maker?
Mm-hmm.
That's is sometimes they're like, no. And I was like, no, or is there another decision maker or your partner or whatever? They're like, oh yeah. So I'm like, yeah, okay, let's
Mm-hmm.
do another call, because a lot of times too, same thing that you said, they may not be able to pass the information on, or the partner might have a question and they cannot answer it as well. So it's just to have that conversation is very crucial. So I
Yeah.
believe in like doing the follow-up calls to even touch on the paperwork side of things. And I think this is like a two-way street, because the paperwork, when you're investing in anything at all, like a company that's so regulated, there's different paperworks that are in place. And I
Yeah.
always encourage persons, like, you might see the paperwork and be like, this is too much, I don't have time. But also, I think in approaching the paperwork aspect of it, you want to understand what each individual paperwork covers. But before tackling and
That's a good
start
point.
going through, like,
Mhm.
paperwork one, what does that talk about? Paperwork two,
Yeah.
just have an overview. So then that way, which paperwork do I need to review first? Because a lot of times, most of the paperwork are just disclosures, because you have to,
I know
because
we've got like our application. Everyone's like, it's 30 pages. I'm like,
it's
it's disclosures. It's
it's
disclosures. It's
disclosures.
really not easy. Like,
It's not. And that's what comes with being regulated, right?
yeah,
I could understand
exactly.
if it wasn't regulated, then the
That's a good
paperwork would have
point
been
too. Is
smaller.
if you don't have any paperwork, maybe you should look at that
You
investment. When
just,
we have all these
yes.
disclosures, it's because we are so heavily
So,
watched, and
yes,
so it
yes.
really does protect the client in that sense. Yeah, it may feel overwhelming looking at this paperwork, but just know the reason all these are in
All
place is because
these
we had to go through all this steps to
mhm,
get to this point.
to
So
get to
it
it. Yeah.
does put you in a little bit more,
The
lack of better
peace of
words, like a
mind a little bit.
protected, yeah, type of investment versus like, oh, here's a one sheeter.
Yes. And they're like, that's it. And I'm like, yeah. And then you get all the paperwork. And you're like, okay, this is a lot. Like I've had one investor be like, this is a lot. And I was like, okay, maybe I understand everything that's happening. So what I did, we did a whole video
Oh, that's
and
nice.
put it in our investor portal. And we have start here, or I think we have start here, or watch this first. And then it was a video breaking down which paperwork to review first. And we
Mm.
open each paperwork and we give you an overview
I
about,
love that. That's awesome. I
right?
didn't know you did that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
like, oh, because it can be so
Hmm.
overwhelming. And then we're like, this is what it covers. Use your what do you call it? The table of contents to navigate
Hmm.
certain things. Your job isn't to understand every single legal phrase, right?
Yeah.
Or wording that's in it. It's drafted by an expert who is an attorney. So if you feel more comfortable and you want an attorney to review so you can like get clarity on it, you do that as well. But I think a lot of times people try to understand every single line in it
Hmm.
and code and references. Like I don't even know the code, but I know like
Yeah.
the most of the
Your
stuff is regulated and I
attorney
just have to
drafted
do
it, right?
it.
Like,
Yeah, I didn't put it in Chat GPT or anything like that. And I
right.
had someone told me once that it this looks like it was drafted by AI. And I was like, no way. I'm like, does this document looks like it was drafted by AI? I was like,
You
I
don't
had
get
to
the
pay.
attorney.
I'm like, money for an SEC attorney to draft this back and forth conversation and discussion and getting clarity. Because as much as like for one of the big thing for us is yes, we want persons to invest, but at the same time, we try to put ourselves in investors' shoe. Like, if I was supposed to invest with this, what does this line mean? How am I protected? Like, if this goes wrong, like all those things, we kind of try to wear both hats because they're gonna have
Mhm.
those questions. And if you're not, if you don't put those in your paperwork, it's gonna be a headache, and no one wants to invest with your fund.
Yeah.
So that's like very crucial with the funds portion of it too.
Yeah.
And I know we're getting closer to the time as well. So when it talks about the like, because we touch on decision making, we touch on the setup as well. Um, what do you think is the number one reason or your top reason that you've seen that persons who express interest in setting up their retirement account or even investing will turn investment, they start the process and they never continue?
Hmm. I would say the only time that I don't have people follow through,
Mm-hmm.
which is very, very rare to be honest. Like usually
Yeah.
once we've gotten to this point and I've had that conversation, we're all pretty confident where we're at, right? Like they've
Yeah.
vetted out investments and things like that. On
Mm-hmm.
occasion, I would say the investment that they wanted to do maybe like, just didn't pan out. I have like
Yeah.
people that are buying physical real estate. So like maybe the deal is just not on the market anymore or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then even then, typically they still move forward and they look for their
Yeah.
next deal,
The next
right?
deal.
Um, if for what I'm trying to think, I really don't have a lot of people that don't like that back out or don't move
So
forward. Like,
that's good. That
yeah,
means you're explaining things properly
yeah,
and they're getting clarity that they need.
yeah,
What I found is that sometimes they don't have they have a question and they don't have clarity for something, but they're afraid to ask that question.
yeah. That could be, yeah. Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, I mean, I really do try to explain everything really well and answer any questions. And even, like follow-up questions, I'll have, clients sign up. And then I had a gentleman text me earlier today and he's like, hey, can you jump on a call today? I just have a few more questions. Sure. I'm
Sure.
always quick, and I tell all my clients, hey, even when once you sign up, this is not like one phone call and we never talk again. Like
Yeah.
I have a great team behind me. I'm only one person, is what I tell everyone. So obviously, I can't, do everything. But
Yeah.
if you do have questions, I want to make sure you're comfortable. This is your life, this is your retirement account. I respect that. And I'm here to educate as much as
Yeah.
I can to make sure that you're comfortable moving forward. And I am not, this is no high pressure sales thing on my end. Like, I don't care if you move forward or not. This is completely up to you. This is your life. I'm here to
Yeah.
educate you and give you the tools of how you can do something different.
Yeah.
And if that makes sense for you, I tell them all the time, no pressure. Like, I'll send you the information. If it makes sense, let me know. We'll get things started. I will walk you through the process. Um, and we'll go for there, and I will answer all the questions and be there for
Yeah.
you throughout it.
No,
But
and I
no
love
pressure on
that
my end.
too.
I'm not
No
I'm not
pressure.
going to sit there and talk you into it. Like, that's not my job, is to
You're like,
convince
no,
you to do something you don't want to do. I don't
yes.
want to do that. I like sleeping well at night, and I'm not here to convince anyone that they need to do something
What
they're
did it
uncomfortable with.
do? Exactly. And that's the thing too. Like, even we're here, like, again, we're doing this to give you guys information. So again, if you're interested, which is gonna be my closeout question too, like, what is the best way, Amber, for them to reach out to you to have a conversation
Yeah.
as
I'm gonna
well?
put my number in here.
You can put that in the link as well.
That's my cell phone, and then my email.
Perfect. So we
And,
have those.
and normally I have my little
The AI bot.
my QR code. No,
Mm.
everything. Oh my gosh, I can't
Okay, sweet. There you go. And then
But
I would also drop, if you guys have questions, drop or call it my calendar link if you guys want to hear more
yeah.
about or what is it that we're doing, you know? And I even tell persons a lot of times too, I'm like, they're like, we're picky with the investors
Here
that
I have
come.
my calendar
You
too.
have it?
They just changed my calendar link. I need to make sure you have my updated one too, because
Ah,
they
yes.
we moved systems recently, and I'm, again, as we
You
see,
can
IT is not my forte here. So
put
this
that
should
in
be my new
here.
calendar link.
Wait, let me put that there. Awesome. I have it open too.
Okay.
Perfect.
So yeah, do you guys feel free to jump on, schedule an
Mhm.
appointment. Obviously, you can reach out to Felicia, you can reach out to Horizon Trust, ask for
Yeah.
Amber. I am the only Amber here. um, or you can email me directly, super easy. It's just amber@horizontrust.com,
Mhm.
or call or text anytime.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I hope you guys found this super helpful. And I hope it answers the question. Like, everyone has an opinion about your retirement account, but do you? Do you now have the tools, the information, the resources to have an opinion about what you can and cannot do about your own retirement account and different investment or alternative investment strategies that you can invest in and how to do it? Right. So even when you see all those gurus talking about those stuff, you can be confident enough to be like, I'm not an expert, but I have my team of experts, which I would like to think it's us. Let me go to my team of experts to just get some clarification on a few things. And I think that's how you build a relationship and you trust people to know, like, do I want to continue working with them or not? Are we even a good fit to work together as well? And that goes off by just having conversation and getting to know that person and how they work and how they operate. And I think from there, you can make a decision to be like, do I want to invest with my retirement account or not? But Amber, thank you as always.
Oh, no, it was a pleasure. We have to do
Thank
it again
you.
soon. We'll have to do another evening one. I know those are always great.
Yeah.
People are working during the day. I get
Okay.
that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we were able to meet during the day. I know
Yeah.
that was partly on my end with the little guy now at home. So,
Yeah, but here's the thing too. We tried it, like as you said, like we've been
yeah,
doing the webinars at in the evenings as well,
yeah,
but we can't make a decision if it's gonna be amazing or not.
yeah, we got to
Because the
try.
time you gotta try
We
and
do
then
that here. We have our biweekly webinars as well, and we pop them around different times to see what works best
just to
for
see what
everyone.
works.
And so,
You
um,
never know.
yeah, no, it was great being here, and hopefully we can do it again soon. And if anyone has any questions, I look forward
Yeah.
to connecting. And yeah, I guess we'll wrap
Awesome.
it up for the day.
All right. Thank you guys and enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy watching and reach out if you have any additional questions after rewatching this video.
Thanks, guys.
Bye
Bye.
guys.